I'm a system in the upper atmosphere that's right in between.
I've been having a great time in Central New York classrooms with our Weather School project, and I know the kids and the teachers have too. This is meteorologist Dave Eichhorn. Look for the daily Weather School questions on 9 News and test your weather knowledge.
Meteorologist Dave Eichhorn, making a difference with 9 News Weather School.
It's a story that could only happen on Sesame Street Live. Sleeping Birdie, starring the yellowest, the incomparable Big Bird. Watch as Big Bird is cast into a big sleep. Will the jealous queen reign as the yellowest of all? Enjoy the super saga of music, merriment, and irrepressible antics. There's nothing like Sesame Street Live.
Tickets now on sale. Charge tickets. Call Ticketron phone charge.
Keep them forever with Industrial Color Labs.
I'm Hank Vomard from Industrial Color Labs. What you've just seen is an exciting new way to show home movies on TV. It's called video transfer, and here's how it works. Simply bring your home movies to Industrial Color Labs and let our state-of-the-art video transfer equipment electronically copy your movies onto videotape. No need to hassle with the projector or screen. Simply put the videotape in your VCR and share those great moments with friends or relatives. Industrial Color Labs can also transfer your vacation slides or your wedding album onto videotape. We can also add music, titles, or special effects. And the best part is the price. Because we do all the work in-house, there's no minimum charge. You pay only for the number of movies, slides, or prints we convert to video. Industrial Color Labs is open to the public. Call us at 437-1155 and ask about video transfer.
Industrial Color Labs.
Chinatown Discount Center in Salve is your store for a unique selection of holiday gifts at savings up to 70% off the original ticket price. All your holiday needs in one store. Chinatown, Milton Ave, Salve.
On the next Inside Edition, he's pushing a revolutionary new treatment for AIDS, but the government says it just doesn't work.
It's like Dr. Alonso against the U.S. government, and who is he going to use to make his point? People with AIDS.
On the inside, it's a whole different story.
Monday night after 9 News Update.
And finally tonight, in the hustle and bustle of this holiday season, downtown Syracuse shoppers today got a chance to relax for a while and enjoy the sounds of the season. Tonight we leave you with some of the best high school musical talent in Syracuse as the All-Star Band performs at the galleries. World News Saturday is up next. We'll see you back here at 11. Good night.
ABC News, World News Saturday. Here's Carol Simpson.
Good evening. More than 20 Americans flew out of Iraq today, the first to depart since Saddam Hussein announced he would free all of his foreign captives. ABC's Karen Burns reports that all Americans should be out of Iraq and Kuwait very soon.
Passport to freedom, baby.
Bill Rodebush and his friend Bob Martin had hoped to leave Iraq together, but it wasn't to be.
That's okay. You go home and get the steaks ready.
Martin was taken off the list at the last minute. For someone who'd been waiting for 4 months, he took it remarkably well.
Tomorrow, or the next day.
In the 10th minutes before departure, there was confusion over who would leave today and who might go tomorrow. Some hostages blamed the State Department and the U.S. Embassy and the private group who arranged for their release.
I am disgusted and upset at the way that it was handled.
Both the embassy and the group of private citizens headed by former Governor John Connally blamed Iraqi bureaucracy. But for Jack Stewart, who arrived at the last minute from a strategic site 4 hours away, this was one of the happiest days of his life. And it happens to be his birthday.
68 today.
How would you rate this birthday?
One of the best presents I've ever had.
23 hostages, including people from the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait and 8 relatives, finally made their way through customs and to the other side. If all goes according to plan, an American chartered plane will leave here tomorrow morning, fly to Kuwait to pick up the remaining Americans there, and come back to Iraq to pick up all of the other Americans. With any luck, by tomorrow night, All the American hostages from Iraq and Kuwait will be gone. Karen Burns, ABC News, Baghdad.
President Bush today expressed relief that Americans are finally being evacuated from Kuwait, but he insisted that Saddam Hussein's gesture has not brought the two sides in the Persian Gulf crisis any closer to a peaceful solution. Mr. Bush made those remarks in Venezuela as he was wrapping up his tour of South America. Here's ABC's Britt Hume.
A joint news conference with Venezuelan President Perez brought the first comment from President Bush on the planned evacuation of the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait. That is something Iraq has long demanded and the U.S. has long resisted. But the president insisted it is not a concession to Saddam Hussein.
It is no payback.
No es recompensa.
And the feeling is that when every single American is out of Kuwait, we will clear the decks, and the embassy will have ceased to be fulfilling any day-to-day function.
Mr. Bush said his determination to get Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait is undiminished, and the embassy evacuation may actually make that easier.
I think you can make the case that this facilitates the tough decisions that might lie ahead.
And what he was asked, did he mean by that?
I just mean that when you don't have Americans there, and if force is required, that's just one less worry I've got.
Asked for his view on the use of force in the Gulf, Perez, who has backed the anti-Iraq effort by expanding Venezuela's oil output, said he supported the UN resolutions and the liberation of Kuwait. Perez never actually said he supported the use of force at this time, but he didn't say he opposed it either. President Bush seemed plenty satisfied with that. After all, it's more support than he's getting from leading members of the U.S. Congress, with whom he must deal when he gets home. Britt Hume, ABC News, Caracas.
President Bush today praised Venezuela for deciding to increase its oil production in the face of the oil cutoff from Iraq and Kuwait. That increased production will be of enormous benefit to the U.S., but it will be of even bigger benefit to Venezuela itself. ABC's John Quinones reports.
The petroleum fields of Lake Maracaibo, Venezuela, home to 16,000 oil wells and counting. Venezuela is sitting on a jackpot of oil deposits, 300 billion barrels. More oil than any other place in the world, except perhaps Saudi Arabia. O.V. Stidham should know. He's an oil consultant from Midland, Texas, who's been drilling here for 14 years.
How easy is it to find oil here? It's real easy. There's not many dry wells here.
Since the Persian Gulf crisis began, the government-owned Venezuelan Petroleum Company has increased oil production by 20% to 2.5 million barrels a day, 2/3 of it destined for the U.S.
With all that increased production, Venezuela stands to gain an extra $2 billion in petroleum revenues this year. For the U.S., just a 4-day trip across these waters, it means a convenient and reliable source of oil.
Analysts say it's an opportunity to gain valuable leverage on the international market.
We can change the geopolitics of oil by sending a signal to the Middle East that in the great oil reserves of Venezuela, there are simply enormous sources of oil, which could significantly reduce our own dependence upon the Middle East.
In the capital of Caracas this weekend, there's renewed optimism in the economy, talk of a return to the boom years of the 70s, when oil built this impressive skyline. The Venezuelan stock market is on a bullish roll. Still, no one has forgotten that the last boom here collapsed miserably after the fall of oil prices in the early 80s.
We have to look very careful the future and not to count the chicken before they are born.
But even the oil minister admits the crisis in the Persian Gulf has brought much longed-for relief on Lake Maracaibo. The hope is that the renewed profits from this oil bonanza won't be short-lived. John Quinones, ABC News, Lake Maracaibo, Venezuela.
The latest developments in the Persian Gulf crisis will be the topic tomorrow on This Week with David Brinkley. Secretary of State James Baker will be the guest. We'll be back with more news in a moment.
World News Saturday, brought to you by Nassau.
If for years you've been
been itching to get relief from the discomfort of a dry nose? Here's some good news. Nasal. It's not a decongestant. Nasal's a gentle moisturizing spray that soothes away dryness. So gentle that you can use Nasal as often as you like. So the next time your dry nose needs soothing relief, try Nasal moisturizing spray. It's what every dry nose has been itching for.
No matter how you top it, there's no way a microwave will take the crunch out of a Triscuit. No way. Triscuit in the microwave stays crunchy no matter what. Take a close look at Prego spaghetti sauce and Ragu original style. You can see more herbs and spices with Prego, and Prego's thicker. If you're looking for great homemade taste, Prego won't let you down. It's in there.
A major development at the United Nations tonight, where Security Council members began debating a controversial resolution to open up an international peace conference on the Middle East. ABC's David Ensor reports.
In the UN Security Council, the stage is set for a probable vote on a pro-Palestinian resolution, which U.S. officials say is unacceptable, although all other 14 members of the Council are expected to vote for it. The resolution reacts to the killing of at least 17 Palestinians at Temple Mount in Jerusalem by calling for a conference of nations which signed a treaty in 1949 on the treatment of civilians in occupied territories. It also says that at an appropriate time, an international peace conference on the Middle East would help solve the Palestinian problem. It's a position Secretary of State Baker says the U.S. supports, but the U.S. isn't willing to vote for it at the UN. Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir, who is visiting the U.S., has denounced the peace conference idea and said Israel would not attend it. A U.S. veto would please Israel, but could do serious damage to the coalition against Saddam Hussein. Both Syria and Saudi Arabia, with troops alongside the U.S. in the desert, are strong supporters of Palestinian rights. Arab states charge that the U.S. policy of forcing sanctions against Iraq for Kuwait and not supporting any UN steps against Israel for its treatment of the Palestinians is hypocritical. At this hour, the U.S. is still trying to convince members of the UN Security Council to withdraw the resolution without taking a vote. David Ensor, ABC News, at the United Nations.
Germany has launched an airlift of food relief supplies to the Soviet Union, where a number of areas are facing critical food shortages. Ironically, the supplies Germany is sending are the same emergency stockpiles West Berlin accumulated when the Red Army blockaded the city in 1948 and 1949. Moscow's deputy mayor said today that foreign economic help will be necessary at least until the spring. In the second evacuation in 2 days, the U.S. removed about 400 former Libyan prisoners of war from Chad today. Washington is calling the evacuation an international humanitarian effort. Libya is calling it an international act of piracy. When we return, why being good to the environment is also good for business.
The Remington microscreen shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Hold it. The Remington microscreen is more than closeness. Listen. That powerful motor makes Remington a quick shave, and its two thin, flexible screens adjust for true comfort. The Remington microscreen, quick, comfortable, shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Attaboy. That's Remington. And the perfect gift for women is the Lady Remington Rechargeable, also with a money-back guarantee.
Ford profiles in quality, customer satisfaction.
Today we realize that quality's got to be number one. I said that back in '82, and today it's truer than ever.
The looks attracted me, but the performance sold me.
After 2 years, it still shines like new.
We love hearing things like that.
The only thing better than a Sable
is two Sables.
Our goal is to build the highest quality cars and trucks in the world.
At Ford Motor Company, quality is job one.
The same medicine found in the prescription drug Motrin.
The same medicine found in the prescription drug Motrin.
Same as in Motrin in non-prescription strength.
The same medicine found in the
Did you ever notice that a lot of pain relievers seem to be saying the same thing? Well, if you want the same medicine found in the prescription drug Motrin, wouldn't it just be simpler to ask for Motrin IB? Non-prescription strength Motrin IB. You can't buy a more effective pain reliever without a prescription. Motrin IB. Accept no alternatives.
The day can be hard and cool on your feet. So at night, treat them to Totes Toasty Stretch Slippers. And you'll notice a dramatic change. Unlike other stretch slippers, Toasties are made with special pillowy soles, plenty of room for your toes, and soft, breathable cotton to make your feet feel warm, welcome, and happy to be home. Toasties Stretch Slippers from Totes.
There was more bad news for NASA today. A plumbing problem may force the Space Shuttle Columbia to end its astronomy mission on Monday, one day early. A clogged water line is keeping the astronauts from flushing a tank holding wastewater from the ship's toilet, and that's creating humidity problems that could harm the ship's electronics. This week, both the Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola bottling companies announced plans to package their soft drinks in recycled plastic. Several weeks ago, fast food giant McDonald's announced similar plans. The action has been prompted by the growing demand by consumers for products and packaging which are environmentally safe. As Jed Duval reports, many companies, large, medium, and small, are already heeding the call.
It is a tiny store in the center of Charlottesville, Virginia. The things sold here are easier on the environment.
Our paper products are not bleached. They're de-inked.
Charles Hugas was farming in Virginia, raising 4 children, when he was struck by damage to the world around him, to the grass and fields and trees. So he opened this store to sell paper plates, cups and bags, cards, computer paper, coffee filters, even shampoo and cosmetics.
Every kind of laundry and house detergent you'd want to think of. Totally biodegradable, totally earth-friendly.
So far, the store has been a struggle for Hugas, but he didn't do this for the money.
And once I started getting into it and seeing the response and seeing how good people felt when they leave this store with something under their arm, knowing that they're contributing to the future of this planet in a positive way, it's a good feeling.
Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream in Burlington, Vermont is a middle-sized company. Several hundred people work here. 2 years ago, the company went for recycling in a big way. Gail Mayville pushed it along.
It bothered me that we weren't recycling and trying to conserve some of our resources and our energy and things like that. We save $30,000 a year alone just in recycling our plastic egg yolk buckets.
This company treats waste from the ice cream operations in these ponds. That's required by law. But these people say they want to go beyond that and try feeding the wastes to plants. So they're building a greenhouse up the hill.
And it's important because you're not doing this just to look good, just to sell widgets. I would hope that it's a little deeper than that and you're doing it now because you really do care about the environment. Isn't that what it's really all about? We can't move to another planet.
The mass deaths at the Union Carbide plant at Bhopal in India 6 years ago set off tremors throughout the chemical industry. Even at rival companies, such as Monsanto, things changed.
We went plant by plant all over the world. Could this happen to us? What could we do? And we found incredible things we could do to improve what we thought were wonderfully safe practices.
Monsanto is huge. It is all over the globe, producing and selling chemicals and plastics. The company has made a promise to cut its toxic emissions by 90% by 1992. That promise has come to be known as the Monsanto Pledge and has been signed by several thousand employees.
I can't remember anything that's gotten more positive response in this company than our pledge to clean up the environment.
Chemical companies have been huge polluters, and many, Monsanto included, are spending time and money trying to change their practices and reputations.
I think we have systematically, across America, wasted enormous amounts of precious raw materials. Anything going out of a smokestack is not going into a product. It's got a pretty simple answer. I think it's the right thing to do. The environment does need cleaning up.
Large, medium, and small companies making decisions, making noises about cleaning up, recycling, doing things differently. In all three, they know the prices will be higher. And in all three, they are convinced Americans are willing, indeed eager, to proceed.
Thank you.
Jed Duval, ABC News, Charlottesville, Virginia.
In New York today, hundreds of fans of former Beatle John Lennon gathered at Strawberry Fields, the section of Central Park dedicated to the rock music legend. on this, the 10th anniversary of his murder. Some prayed or meditated, others sang Lennon's songs. Rock and roll singer Dee Clark died today of an apparent heart attack. He was 52. During the 60s, Clark had a string of hits, including Hey Little Girl and Raindrops.
Oh, rain.